Welcome back to Collaboration Conversations. I'm your host, Regina Partain Bergman, CEO of Bridgeport Strategy. Once again, I am delighted to have a guest co host today. And my guest co host today is Rebecca Frohlich. And Rebecca is a financial advisor working particularly with educating women in the financial arena. Welcome, Rebecca.
Thank you so much. Thank you for asking me to co-host. This is exciting.
I'm excited to do this. Yeah, tell us a bit about your journey. What's brought you here and who you serve and
So
why?
I've been in the financial services now for over 20 years, and I've worked in many aspects, operations, support, and working more with clients nowadays. I decided to jump more into the role of a financial advisor and got my CFP and everything just because in general, in the financial services industry, women only make up 23% of financial advisors. And I think that needs to change. So, as a woman, I feel like we bring a lot of extra stuff to the table. We bring a little more of a connection, maybe some more empathy into the relationship with just everything that women go through in their lives, in the various roles that we play throughout our lives. That I think it's a good idea to have a woman on your side helping you through, guiding you through all those financial decisions, whether it's new kids, divorce, widows, all of that. They just need a little extra help and education. So that's kind of where I come from on the financial services. I actually come at it from more of an education point, just helping people understand more all about their finances, and then especially about investing and where they should be, and just mitigating risk and everything in their portfolios.
That's
So
wonderful.
that's me.
There's a huge need for that, isn't there?
There's a huge need, especially we're going into one of the largest wealth transfers of all time. And of course, women are going to be the beneficiary of that wealth transfer.
Right.
So let's
Right.
have the support there for them.
Fantastic. Thank you so
So,
much.
and that's kind of why I brought the other ladies on. They're both women I've met throughout my networking, strong women running their own businesses, building their own clientele, and they just impressed me, and we struck up great
Awesome.
conversations and friendships. So, I have Jenny. Jenny is a risk insurance manager. She does personal insurance to help you mitigate all your personal risk. Jenny, do you do any corporate or commercial?
So I don't, but the agency I work for does. Yes. I work for USI Insurance. So we're a national independent broker and with a local presence here in Omaha. So I specialize in insuring and working with our high net worth, affluent clients to insure their homes, vehicles they drive, valuable articles, excess liability, and more. But then, yes, the agency I work for also has employee benefits division, P&C, and retirement plan consulting side of things too. So I've been in the insurance business almost 10 years, and I'm actually the ninth person of my family to go into the insurance business, all kind of specializing in different areas, but still, the same umbrella of, the risk management. So I started my career after college in the marketing industry, more graphic design kind of in one role, and then soon decided that actually was not my passion and left what I learned in college and got licensed in insurance and have been doing it ever since. So I worked on the operations side of the house too a little bit, so I know kind of how that side works, but have found my calling more in the production and sales side. And similarly to you, Rebecca, that risk management, that holistic, side of what I can bring to the table. It's more about how to protect the assets and what our clients have worked so hard to build. So that's kind of how I approach what I do every day. So thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, it's exciting to have you here.
And then I also brought on Audrey Hoffman. Audrey owns her own graphic design business. You've been doing it for quite a while, haven't you, Audrey?
Yeah, I've been a designer for 23 years, and I've been out on my own for about 16. So yeah, I got my start right after college. I started working for a printer, which was really great because at the time, websites weren't quite as big, and I got to work for a variety of type of clients because, anything from higher ed to biotech, just like really wide range. And I branding, any type of design, any type of print design, anything from like logos and brochures all the way to like magazines and publications. But then over time, things changed and everyone needs a website. So I really got into that, and I love building websites. There's a little bit more of like when you are talking about developing and problem solving, there's a little bit more of like an analytical side to that, which I enjoy also, in addition to being creative. But like I said, I work for such a wide range of clients. I have a restaurant group, but I really do enjoy working for small businesses, whether they're just getting started or, have realized that they need a refresh and maybe they have a really outdated website or look and feel, and update that. But, it's interesting. Just recently, I have 3 women who have gone out on their own to have their own business. So I've helped them with their branding and their websites and I really enjoy doing that. So
fabulous.
Yeah, that's
thanks for having
exciting.
me.
Well, it's exciting to have you all here today. And again, Rebecca, thank you for being our guest co-host today and for bringing such wonderful panelists. I'm excited to see where this conversation goes. But the thought that occurred to me as you were introducing yourselves is to start off by taking this in the direction of, will you collaborate with your clients? Because you're all very client focused. And isn't that a collaboration as well? We often think of collaborations as with other businesses. But what about how you collaborate with your clients? What does that look like?
Well, I know for myself, it's a true collaboration in almost the whole entire financial planning process, because it's digging into learning everything about those individuals and then setting those goals for their life. Because it's not really a financial goal we're setting. It's seriously their goals for where they want their life to go. What do they envision retirement looking like for them? How long do they think they want to work? What else do they want? Do they want to plan for philanthropy, or are they putting their grandkids through school or their own kids, whatever it is? Sometimes there's a lot of collaboration to help them really narrow down and build that picture of what their future goals are, so that we can start to plan and adjust that financial plan to achieve those goals. But it's a full collaboration, and then just helping them understand finances and all that to help them grasp it and really get where they need to be. It's a collaboration, I would say, all of it.
Yeah, I would agree.
Same with what I do as well. So whether I'm working with a brand new client or prospect or working with an existing client on their renewals every year, I'm having those conversations to understand their lifestyle and what's important to them. And just like you, Rebecca, what are their goals? Do they have young children who are, planning to go to college, and what, from a risk management perspective, what do we need to do to make sure that we have the proper coverage in place? And so going back to understanding their lifestyle and having these conversations with them on a yearly basis, and sometimes more often, I talk to my clients sometimes, if they call for everything, and that's perfectly fine, but understanding, okay, they host a lot of parties at their home. So what does that look like? What do I need to be recommending to them for proper liability insurance and to protect themselves? So, I collaborate with them, just similarly to you, I think, Rebecca. I mean, our worlds kind of collide in the sense of, the financial side of it and then the insurance side. So, it's getting an understanding. Oh, my light in my office just went off. Getting an understanding what's important to them. And then how do I come in to then help put that all together?
Right.
Yeah. How about for you, Audrey, when you're working with, so you're working more with businesses, whereas Jenny and Rebecca, yours might be individual clients as well as businesses, correct?
Mm-hmm.
But Audrey, you're working more with businesses and helping them with that public image that they have. How does that collaboration look on your part?
Yeah, and in some cases, I do have a lot of small businesses that are individuals.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a mix of their business side of things. But one thing that I think of, which I always find interesting, is that sometimes people feel like they need to do everything in their business, and they'll try to do a lot of things themselves in terms of whether it's their logo or their website or but it's kind of funny because sometimes people say to me, well, I'm really not much of a designer or whatever. And I'm like, well, of course you're not. That's why I have this business. This is what I don't know how to do your job. That's why I'm here. So it's interesting, usually, especially with new branding, but also with a refresh or something. There's a lot of discussion about what kind of image do you want to portray to your clients, and what's your message, because you can convey a lot with graphics, but you also need there's a content side to it as well. Recently I'm in the process of website redesign right now, where they had plenty of content on their site and nice imagery, but it really wasn't showing what they do. There's specifically, they were a dementia care facility, and there was a lot of stock photography. It wasn't really showing like the level of care that they provided and what they really offer their patients and their patients' families. So, we did a video introduction for their website, which they'll be able to use on social media. We did photography to show the real facility and their patients and everything, and revamping the content also to make sure that they get across their message. And so all of that has such an impact when you think about, especially in that case, of people going to a website and getting their first impression. It really makes a big difference. People will actually base their opinion about the legitimacy of your business based on what they see on the website. So there's a lot of collaboration in terms of making sure that I understand not only what their goals are, but what they want the face of their business to be.
Mm-hmm. That's such an important thing. I didn't realize so much until I really started to dive into more of the sales and marketing side of our business, that I took a look at our website and I was like, that doesn't cut it whatsoever.
Well, if you think about what's the first thing you do when you learn of a new business or you're looking for a certain service,
right?
You look at websites and you form an opinion about how up to date or current a business might be, or how much they know, that kind of thing. It's a big first impression.
It is indeed.
Well, and I would think, especially if you're comparing services and just everything between different providers, it might help lean you one way or the other, right? Just that feel of the website for what you're drawn to.
So true.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So very true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. I think that's really, I think the three of you, what you're doing, the three of you, truly requires collaboration with your clients in order for you to succeed and for your clients to succeed. And if you don't have that deep level of collaboration, you're not going to be able to help them achieve their goals. It's not going to happen. Yeah.
And I think it's an ongoing collaboration that's going to go the whole life of your relationship with that client. Just like Jenny said, you revisit it all the time because things change. I mean, even Audrey, I would assume it's the same with your business. It's constantly ebbing and flowing. So you got to stay up to date and adjusting, right?
Yeah. I mean, social media as it is today did not exist back at the beginning of my career. So my business has evolved, in business and the way people advertise. I mean, I started doing a lot more brochures and ads. Now it's a lot more digital.
Yeah. I had a conversation the other day with someone about doing a QR code And I'm like, never done it, but I'm going to do it.
Well, and I think I talked to you recently about digital business cards.
Yes.
That's such a cool thing. Yeah, that's a whole other subject, but just the way things evolve like that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I remember, I'm really going to date myself here, but when Facebook first started really gaining some popularity and people started talking about using it for their business, and I thought, how are we going to do that? I don't understand. And of course, now it's a huge tool for businesses. Yeah. And at that time, we didn't have LinkedIn yet. That wasn't on the scene yet. So
I was going to say one other thing just to add to the collaboration piece of it. It's, what I do is very much not just a transactional type of process. And so you have to understand your client or prospect or someone you want to do business with, because what I'm recommending for one client is so not the same as what I recommend for another. And it's very much about understanding the client's needs, what's important to them, and then being able to come back to them with a solution.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you on that.
Yeah. Well, and Regina, I would think your business would be similar, wouldn't it?
Yes,
You're in
absolutely.
collaboration with the business owners.
Most definitely, yes. And again, it's that changing landscape as well. And you've got to stay in touch, and you've got to see what's changed, not only in the environment, but what's changed inside of that business that's going to make it different moving forward. So it's not a one and done. It's that consultative process over time, and that collaborating with them. So, and I think that's a really good term to describe the relationships that I have with my clients. It's very much collaborative, very much so. So let me ask you, when you're looking at collaborations from a business standpoint, from other businesses as opposed to your clientele, what are you looking for in people that you would want to collaborate with? How are you qualifying them? What does that look like? Who is a good collaborative partner for you, and why?
That's a very good question. I mean, I would say it's almost anybody who's open to any sort of conversation to dive in deeper to how things are doing, what goals they have. For me, on the client side, it's definitely those clients who need help, of course, in the financial arena, anywhere in there. But not only that, it's also anybody who just needs support in some role or some situation that they're dealing with at this time. Because if it's not something that I directly involve with, there's somebody in my network that probably does.
There you go. Yeah.
And so it's just kind of creating a good relationship with them and understanding what they need and where they're going. And I think that's a total collaboration in everything. And and then on the business side of doing referrals and stuff, you're literally just figuring out each other's businesses and how we can support each other, or even just to brainstorm to help deal with different situations that we're dealing with, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think creating relationships with other, and I'm speaking just from my industry and that I'm in, is having these relationships with other trusted advisors. So it's, my client can very much have a need for Rebecca or for someone else who my client looks to for advice on whatever. And of course, if they're a business owner, Audrey, and they're looking for help rebranding, certainly having a partner like you is helpful too. I also work a lot with the other producers in my office to working on the personal insurance for a current employee benefits client or a business owner. And so we're constantly having to know what each other is doing and what's our focus, and so it's staying up to date with just what's going on in the market, and having those same kind of conversations with my counterparts on the P and employee benefit side, but then other trusted advisors.
That's a really good point, Jenny. Yeah,
absolutely.
Internal collaboration and external collaboration. Yeah. Audrey, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, for me, interestingly, I had like a former colleague who, back when she was our art director, back when I was a junior designer, and she was freelancing also, but looking at possibly getting in, a job in-house somewhere. And she said to me, I looked at these job descriptions. Are we really supposed to know how to do all of these things? And in a marketing and design world, if you look at job descriptions, I mean, it is crazy. The stuff, the nice to have or requirements for any job that go from anywhere from like logo and branding to websites, social media, SEO, video, animation. Like, I mean, it's just crazy. You can't possibly know all of those things, or do them well. You might be able to do a couple of those really well and touch on some of them. But, for my business personally, like I have a close partner that I'll do a lot of design for her. And when I have a client that really wants to dig into SEO, I partner with her because, SEO is very analytical and involves data and things like that and research. And that's not really my thing. I like to do my design work and be very creative and things like that. So like, that's a great partnership for me right there. Same thing with social media. It's a little bit of a different animal when it comes to, you're talking about coming up with like a content calendar and, really planning out, down the road what you're going to post. Whereas I'm the one who does the graphic, and that kind of thing. So there's so many different ways in which I can partner with other creative people and, marketing. So.
Yeah. So I would say I definitely do the same thing. I have so many of those internal partners. I mean, just on the investment side alone, because between managing clients, networking and doing all that, I definitely lean on some of our partners, the CFAs in the office and stuff like that, because it's not my forte. Reading investment, company investment reports isn't my forte, but I can send it over to one of the CFAs and just say, give me your thoughts. Right? You just collaborate with the other people in the office. And then it's funny, I have several clients that I collaborate with on market type stuff as well, because they're in different parts of the market, but not necessarily ours. Like I have an oil and gas trader, and I can't tell you how many times I call him for his thoughts on what's going on with the oil market, right? So it's definitely like you both said, it's your internal and your external partners that you just collaborate with, because why wouldn't you lean on the people who that's what they do?
Well, and we're an extension of each other's businesses. So, I'm the first to admit I am not the expert in the financial world. So, then we have someone we can trust and act as an extension of, or, vice versa. And, Audrey, you might not be the expert in the SEO side. So you have someone who knows that. And that's who, So I really like that. And explaining that to my clients too, of, I'm not the expert in this other area. I know someone who is, and, then being that extension of each other's business, I think is really cool. And especially when it's, woman-based too. I mean, to be able to refer my clients to another, strong professional woman.
You mentioned a really important word in there, Jenny, and that was trust. How do you get that level of trust with those partners? How do you qualify someone that you're going to collaborate with and build that trust? Because without it all falls apart, right? Without the trust.
Right. I think, it's about staying in contact with this individual and learning about how they conduct their business, and just adds that level of, okay, I feel good about referring my client or working on something together. And so I think it's one of the most important things is just continuing to stay in contact with this other trusted advisor or other professional. So, and then just asking questions to get a better sense of how they conduct their business and what's important to them and the kind of clients they work with. And if it matches, the same kind of clients I work with, then this could be a good thing here. So, several different areas.
Yeah, excellent. I would agree. It's just getting to know the person and building that relationship with them to truly understand their business, how they operate. I think initially you can get kind of a gut feeling from a person.
Mhm.
I'm big on sometimes you just got to follow your gut, and you just know if ethically they're really out there doing what's right for their clients.
Right.
And that's a big thing. It's literally putting the client's needs above your own.
Right. Yeah.
You don't sell something just to make money. You're really helping that client
Mhm.
solve a problem, fitting their need
Right.
versus the products.
Which
Yeah.
creates a client for life
Correct.
instead of a one-time sale.
And
Right.
yeah, I think it's really about, like you said, building the relationship, staying in contact with them, and truly understanding their business and how they do their business.
Yeah. I think that's another word that's extremely important when it comes to collaborations is relationship. That we're here to build those relationships.
Yeah.
Audrey, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, along those same lines, just in my experience with my line of work, I have come across people, again, like my SEO partner, who you can tell, again, she really wants to help the client. And, oftentimes I notice that she goes above and beyond like what she estimated for. I'll get a report back and I'm like, wow, this is just so in-depth and so much like golden information. And, that's the type of person that you want to partner with, like you said, that that they're in it to help the client. Conversely, I've worked with people who are not very responsive, unfortunately, like on the developer side of things, over the years, it's really hard to find someone who's responsive and gets back to you and does exactly what you asked for. So when you find someone that, again, you can trust to get back to you to do the work that was expected, you can't beat that. That's so important because you're trusting them to come through for your client,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Have you all noticed that there's certain industries too where it's harder? I mean, I feel like sometimes for us to partner on the estate side with some attorneys, I struggle on that side. I've started to really make some good connections there more recently. But yeah, that one's a big one when a client comes back to me and said, well, I met with them 3 months ago and I still don't have anything on our estate plan. And I'm just like, oh my God, that's not okay.
So how do you handle that? Because these collaborations can go wrong. How do you handle that, Rebecca?
Usually I reach out to that strategic partner and I'll go over it. And then I also give them that feedback because I think also as a professional, we need to hear that feedback. Otherwise, sometimes we don't know any better. So, and I do that with existing clients too. I literally ask them, do you understand what I'm saying? Or do you have any questions? How did you feel about that newsletter? Was it over your head? Was it not enough of something? So I think just getting feedback in general. And I think with your strategic partners, giving them feedback is a good thing.
Yeah.
It makes them grow as a professional. Plus it just strengthens your relationship, especially if they're open to it.
Yes. Have you had to sever some relationships because they weren't?
Yes. Yeah.
It's not a fun experience, is it? But
well, I mean, you just take it as a professional and just address it and say, I think there's other people out there that might fit my needs more.
Yeah.
And it really comes down
to not working.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Agreed. Anybody have any other thoughts on that? No? All right. What has been one of the most satisfying collaborations that you've ever been a part of?
Anybody else want to jump in? Or
I mentioned it briefly, but the project that's actually still ongoing right now with that website for the dementia care facility has been really rewarding in a lot of ways, because not only is it really going to show people what they're about, and it's a really, really it's something that affects a lot of people and families, and it's been very rewarding in a lot of ways, both I think for the business and what it's going to do for them, what it can potentially do for families who are searching for a place to put their loved ones, because it's such a, it's such a hard thing to have to do and to have to work through. But on the business side of things, the collaborations that I had with the videographer and the photographer, and just being able to, have them help tell their story. With
she froze.
Yeah.
There she comes.
Yep.
There were times during the video shoot, we were doing testimonials with family members, and it was just so moving to hear from these people. So that one was a big one because I feel like it was connections and relationships with business, like on my side of things, as well as really helping the client, and then the end client, if you will.
Sounds like
there was just like a lot of
sounds like it touched your heartstrings.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good job.
Jenny? Yeah, when I work with several clients, or if I've brought in other producers into a conversation with a prospect, and when you're able to help them in a way that they haven't been helped before, or didn't have adequate coverage or the proper coverage, and a lot of times they maybe don't know that they're missing something that they should have. And then, after we have kind of these discovery conversations, and I'm learning about them and understanding that they don't have the proper coverage, or they don't have any cyber coverage. And that's something that I have found that they've needed. So when I'm able to put together a program that is truly helping someone and protecting their what they've worked so hard to build from an insurance side of it, and the client understands the value too, that is so rewarding. And that happens a lot in the industry. And I'll have clients say, thank you. I didn't even know that I needed a higher excess liability limit. No one's ever told me that before or explained it. And so it just goes to show that having these productive conversations and collaborating with other team members, and it really is doing right by the client. And that's, at the end of the day, what I am most proud of, and why I got into this business. So just knowing that you are protecting someone's livelihood and is really special.
Do you find it really energizing, Jenny, when you finish that?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and off the charts, right?
Yeah, and it doesn't just stop there. I'm staying in contact, obviously, as their agent, for the rest of the time that we work together.
Yeah.
And even working with my clients when their children grow up and they go off on their own, and they're retitling the vehicles and they're purchasing their first house. It's just it's really special to to be able to help the next generation too. And so that's
exciting.
It's very rewarding.
Yeah, absolutely. Rebecca?
I would absolutely agree with that. Anytime you can work with the client and you get them to their end goal and you see them just flourishing, that's just the best. I think anytime I've worked with anybody who was getting close to retirement and hadn't really done any true retirement planning, like you said, you pull in a couple extra people, because of course you have to pull in the Medicare specialist and all of those, because that's all part of retirement, right?
Right.
And we have deadlines on that. But anytime you start, you build that financial plan for them, and then they get to that date where it's their retirement party, and now they're just living that life that you helped them achieve by just helping them build a roadmap and giving them the faith that what we did has paid off. I've given you the illustrations. You're going to be fine. Go live retirement now, right? And then it's like Jenny said, then you you hear from them on all the other stuff, then the vacations they take, or their grandkids that they are able to support and do all this extra stuff. It's wonderful. So that, I would agree, that's one of the biggest joys in the collaboration world for us. I would say a couple of the other ones that I've done more recently, I've really been more involved with a program here in town. It's WIPN. It's started as a women in pension network, but it's flourished beyond that. But we hold a collegiate event every year, and we put together a panel of 5 women that are in the financial services industry. And then we bring all these young girls in who are either in high school or college, and they're on the fence of financial services. And it's just exposing them to all that. So that in itself has become quite the collaboration between several of us women locally, because they started the Nebraska chapter, and then I joined the network, and it's just grown. And for us to be able to put on these events to just educate the people and be available and network with them, and we're all like, you need to link up with us on LinkedIn if there's ever anything we can help you with. If you want a question, you need an internship, we're like, we're here, we're this resource, come use us, right? Mm-hmm. So I think it's just, that's not necessarily growing my business per se right now, but I think it is. And it's also just helping that community to build up these young women to see what opportunity they have.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. And it just, like I said, the energy levels when you are able to do those things, it's just indescribable.
Correct.
How it totally energizes you. And sorry, folks, if you've heard me say this before, but literally coming off of a conversation with a client where we're really helping them move forward in a new way or whatever way, the energy is just so palpable. I have to go find my husband wherever he is here in the house. He's retired, and I go find him and say, have I ever told you I love what I do? No, never heard it. He's going to hear it a million times because, I mean, that drives us, right? And I mean, those are the best collaborations of when we can help others through that collaboration. I love what you're doing with yours, Rebecca, that helping the next generation. I had an opportunity to speak recently at a women's conference, and the subject matter was about how we really empower the next generation of women to really take on those leadership roles and be effective leaders. And it was really exciting to be a part of that as well.
Yeah. I think it's wonderful. And grab them when they're young and they're influential and they're ambitious, right?
Yes. Yeah, there's, for me, I always say it's being part of that ripple effect, of what we do and how it changes the life of the person we're working with. And I can see that in all of your industries, but how that changes the life of the person you're working with, and then how they change other lives as a result. Their opportunities as they are more successful financially, as they've got all those insurances in place, as their marketing, their website and all is really a good showcase for their business. They're able to make a difference in the world, and we get to be part of that.
Right.
Absolutely.
That's just the best gift in the world, isn't it?
Right. Absolutely. Well, and likewise with all of us just in this room right here, just the collaboration and getting to see each other succeed. That in itself is just an amazing thing.
It is indeed.
Women supporting women.
Yes. And that's a really good point, Rebecca, because so many times we've seen in the corporate world where women aren't supporting women.
Correct.
Where there's more drama, where there's more fear, where there's more of women, instead of being able to play to their strengths, are playing in a masculine world. And so they're using not their innate strengths, and it leads to all of that. And I love working in the world that I get to work in because there isn't any of that. We're all helping one another. And that's one of the beauties of doing this show as well, is that the people that come on, are all supportive of one another. I work with a group of coaches. There's about 1,000 coaches in this group, and 200 of them are women. And we have started a women's support group, if you will, a community for the women. No men allowed. Sorry, guys. You can go watch the recordings, but you can't come into the group. And they are all so supportive of one another. It's just fabulous to be a part of that, and watch as they each help the others, as they add their knowledge to the pool, and they're willing to help people and pull them up. And it's just wonderful to be a part of. Love it.
Well, and I like to see some of the leaders, Sally Krawcheck, who now she's the president and founder of EverVest. It's a financial firm for women. But she put something out a while back that literally just said, women have to realize that we're not in competition with each other.
Yeah.
That's so true.
And I think that's that masculine energy that we've had to adapt or adopt in that male-dominated world. The corporate world, let's face it, is more of a male-dominated world. And so we have adopted that male energy to survive, which has put us in competition with one another. I had a staffing firm for a number of years, and had a highly selective process of bringing folks into the company. And I employed mostly women. There were a couple of men in the ranks here and there, but mostly women. But I knew I didn't want that in my company. I didn't want that drama. And so I told every woman when she was hired, you were hired because of the unique strengths and talents and abilities that you bring to this job. You were hand selected by me for this. But guess what? So was every other woman in the company.
Yes.
You were all hand selected because of what you bring. You are all unique, and it takes all of you. And we did not have that bickering, that drama, I remember one occasion in 12 and a half years, one occasion where we had an experience, and it was really funny because the night before we had brought the whole team together for dinner, my business partner and I at the time, and we brought them all together for dinner. And then we went through their personality profiles to help them understand who they were and who everybody else in the room was. And the next morning I get a call. Well, my partner said, hey, do you want to meet me for breakfast? I said, sure. So we're having breakfast. We get a phone call saying, we just had a cat fight. I said, oh, no, you didn't. It does not happen in my company. What are you talking about? So we headed down to the office, and we took the two gals that had the conflict, and we brought them into the conference room, and I said, you can each bring a champion with you, somebody that on the staff that you really relate to and that you feel like really supports you. And then we put their personality profiles up on the board, and it was so clear where the conflict was. One of them was highly assertive and could back that with aggression, and the other one had no assertiveness, no aggression, no ability to put her viewpoint out there, and that was causing conflict. And I told them, I said, ladies, we're going to resolve this, or one or both of you are going down the road kicking rocks, because this is not the company that we are. And I have a picture of them standing hugging at the counter right after that. Now, did it resolve all their problems? No, but they were able to understand where the other one was coming from. And with understanding comes empathy and that ability to desire to work together when you understand one another. So, yeah.
Well, and I think that can speak to just the culture of the workplace too. Is
yes.
Especially if there's a woman leader, of the department or division or
right.
But I mean, culture is so important in today's workforce. And so that is sometimes why people leave companies too.
Yeah, absolutely.
They don't feel supported in one way or another.
Right.
So, Regina, you were very much invested in resolving this conflict. And that's what companies need is, if something's kind of getting off track, it's pulling it back.
Pulling it back, yeah.
The root of it. And so culture is so important.
Yeah. And not just treat symptoms.
Right.
But
find out what really is the challenge.
That's a fabulous way that you handled it. I don't know if I've seen that or heard of that before. And I think it's fabulous. Yeah. Let's just bring them together, have a
Yeah.
talk, and work this out.
Figure out what's going on. Yeah. And but the personality profiles were just really the key to see where the conflict could arise in terms of who they were innately. And at the time, I used a personality profile that was highly predictive of success. It was over 90% predictive of success on the job. And it measured 14 innate personality characteristics. And so we just put those on the board side by side. And it was just so easy to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like, okay. But you're either going to resolve this or one or both of you are gone.
Yeah.
Not going to do
great
this.
for you for addressing it. First of all, so many companies just kind of ignore it or brush it under the rug, and then it just becomes a bigger problem. So you're like, nope, for the efficiency and the quality of our business,
we got to do this now, right now.
Internal culture and communication. I mean, that's an industry in its own these days. And I feel like companies that recognize that, are going to be more successful because they're going to address things like that, like you did, instead of just, letting people go off on their own.
Give them both a reprimand and put a note in their file, and wouldn't solve anything.
No,
right?
No,
wouldn't solve the thing. Yeah.
But I love that. That's a good culture.
Yeah, thank you. We really worked at it, and I think we did create a really good culture. We had 25 employees when the financial crash of 2008 hit and put us out of business by 2009. But most of them, I would say 90% of them, were women, and we just simply didn't have that drama. Yeah. Amen. Not the company I wanted to run. One with a lot of drama.
No. Yeah. That's great. Yeah, I've worked past places have not had that culture, and I know people now who that's an issue at their businesses. Yeah. And maybe that's something I need to be like, you need to call Regina.
There you go. I'm here.
She can guide you through on dealing with this. She'll coach you a little on it.
There you go. We'll get through it.
Yeah.
But it does start at the top. It really does start at the top. It has to start there.
Yeah, the culture starts at the top.
Yeah. What was so funny to my partner and I was how it came on the heels of our conversation the night before. I mean, here we spent this couple of hours or more, having dinner and going through everybody's profiles to have a fight the next morning. Cat fight. Like, oh no, you didn't.
Reinforce how important what you did was, right?
Yeah, exactly. Oh my goodness. So ladies, this has been fun to have this interaction with you. I really appreciate it. We are out of time though. So we're going to do our wrap up round now, which Rebecca's going to lead. And Rebecca, if you'd have everybody tell their final thoughts on collaboration, as well as their contact information. And ladies, if you'll put your contact information in the private chat, I'll make sure it gets out there in the comments while we're doing this round. Okay. So Rebecca.
So my final thoughts on it is I feel like collaboration, it's intertwined in pretty much everything we do in life, very much in our businesses and our careers. But I mean, it's everything from how you communicate with your children, your spouse, your friends, your network, everything. It's a collaborative effort. And I think the stronger you get at it and the more you're open to deal with everyone and listen to their thoughts and ideas and come back with solutions, I think the more successful you're going to just be in life in general.
Yeah, 100% agree.
Yeah. So again, I'm Rebecca Frohlich. I'm with Fairway Asset Management. My email address is rfrohlich@fairwayasset.com. And just reach out to me.
Awesome.
Well, Rebecca, you said it best. I couldn't agree more. So, I mean, collaboration, it's the key. It's the driving force of how I think we can be successful, whether it's professionally or personally. You need collaboration. You need to understand who you're doing business with, who you want to do business with, how to put yourself out there. It's so important. So again, I'm Jenny Copen, personal risk specialist advisor at USI Insurance. And my email is jenny.copen@usi.com. phone number 402-871-9193. And thank you again, Regina and Rebecca, for this opportunity. And nice to meet you, Audrey. Yeah, this has been great.
Awesome.
Yeah, again, what you all said. Yeah, I think the collaboration between, whether it's with your clients or with partners, it really makes such a huge difference in how you do your business and the relationships you have with, again, clients and partners that help you help your clients are so important. And again, Audrey Hoffman with 617 Graphic Design, and my email is audrey@617 Graphic Design. Website 617graphicdesign.com. And my phone number is.
I think there's a theme here. 617.
Well, for anyone who doesn't know, 617 is
I
the
would
area
love to
code
know
in
where the
Boston.
617 comes from. Yes.
It's the Boston area code, and that's where
Love
I moved there after college, and that's where my career started, and one of my favorite places in the world to this day. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
So you're never going to change your phone number so that you.
I will never. I have had that phone number for about 23 years.
Yeah.
So,
And she's going to move back to Boston one of these days. So.
One day I will. Yeah.
Someday.
We'll miss her, but we'll stay in contact.
Very good. Well, thank you again, ladies, for joining us. And I want to say thanks to our viewers for watching. And we hope you'll join us again for another session of collaboration conversations and see how you can make the world better through collaborating with others, your own life better, those around you, and the impact that you can make in the world when you collaborate. So thanks again, ladies, and thanks to our viewers. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Thanks.